Hello again. This week I'm looking at quite a broad theme, but it generally comes together because it's all the stuff on the back of a newspaper. Where the crosswords are, you often see down the other side chess and bridge problems, sort of hypothetical problems. What would you do in this situation? And they are written in a particular type of notation. And those things have all kind of bled into one another, so you get a lot of that notation in the crosswords. It's not as complex as it sounds. Chess is really simple. All the pieces on a chessboard are represented in those notations by their single initial letters. And the really common one in crosswords is B for bishop. You'll see that an awful lot. You see bishop in a clue. You don't have to be thinking about how many sort of archbishops you can name. It's quite likely just to be the letter B, and bishops, two B's. So if there's a word with a double B in it, very handy for the setter to say bishop something something. And you'll put two B's in the middle and you can work the rest of the clue from there. So yeah, chess pieces, initial letters, very simple. Cards, in a similar sense, jack, queen and king and ace, all represented by single letters in those notations. So you might see picture or face because the high value cards are referred to as picture cards or face cards, and that could just be J, Q or K. So that's kind of a sneaky one to look out for, because obviously there are lots of synonyms for face and you might be way off down the wrong track and realize it's a single letter because of playing cards. And the other really common one is suits. So there are four suits: clubs, diamonds, hearts and spades. And in those notations, you'll see them listed by their single initial letters as well. So suit or suits could refer to the single letter starting one of the names of the suits in cards. So just always a good one to keep an eye out for. The only one that comes out of cards, apart from some bits of terminology like trick and trump, which is obviously not a strange orange maniac running America, but the principle of playing a card from a different suit that beats others. I've seen trump used in a few interesting ways, and trick and rubber, which is a piece of bridge terminology, and it's actually bridge that throws up some of the stranger stuff in the card playing references. So I'll give you an example clue, because there's one particular piece of bridge terminology that gets used a lot and it's nice to have an eye on it. Saint gets partners to have a good think. 4 letters. Saint gets partners to have a good think. Now, we've done a couple of these before where you're looking at 4 letters in a clue, in an answer, and thinking it's an awful lot of clue to pack in there. So you know that you've got something going on where part of the clue might substitute for a single letter or single letters, but there's also the chance that you have a very long definition, that more than one word will be the definition, so that you can use up some of the clue in that sense. And you'd be looking at saint. Saint is a really good crossword standard because, of course, it's often abbreviated to ST. So you're thinking, okay, 4 letters, I've got half of them now. It's always good to kind of give that a go. Saint as ST is very common, so you take that, and run with it, see what you get. Which means, if this is wordplay, your definition has to be at the other end. Now, if you're looking for think, ST, 4 letters, not much going on there. Good think. To have a good think, to stew on something. I know maybe it's more conventionally written as stew on, but if you stew, then generally you are mulling something over. And that is indeed the answer. Stew, to have a good think. So you know what this is, and you know what this is. What on earth is that doing? Gets is just a plus. Saint gets partners, so that just means this goes with the next part of the clue. Partners is a bridge terminology, a piece of bridge terminology. Bridge is played by 2 sets of people against each other, and they're labelled north and south and east and west. So partners, east and west, is the E and the W. I don't know why bridge is played like this. They could just be labelled A to D, but they're not. They're labelled north, east, south and west. And you will often see opponents, so north and east. If a setter wants to use an N and an E, or a W and an N, or an S and an E, they could say opponents, and it will be those 2 letters. Partners could be those 2 or those 2. So it's very versatile. I mean, the word news, for instance, N-E-W-S, is the entire compass. So you can clue that with a compass reference, but you can also do it with a bridge reference. because you've got this setup. And that's probably the only one to look out for. Like I said, there are certain pieces of terminology, trick, trump, rubber. There's a bidding process in bridge which is quite sort of complex, and there's occasionally references to that. But more importantly, keep an eye out for partners and opponents, and remember that that could be represented by some of these 4 letters, the compass points, because it's a really sneaky one. You see it quite a lot. Saint's very useful, and remember the bishop from chess as well. You'll see that an awful lot, and suits from cards. Other than that, there's a few sort of very commonly used ones, and you'll see card games perhaps as answers. So, you know, baccarat, lots of variations on poker. So if you see anything to do with card games and it's got more than one word in the answer, start running through 5-card stud, Texas Hold'em, just to check that it's not a really obvious card game name. But generally, initials of chess players, initials of cards, the names of the suits is really important, we'll come on to that again soon. And you haven't got too much to worry about from that arena, I would say. It's pretty much common knowledge, apart from the weird partners opponents bridge thing. So happy solving.